So, welcome to the new now high-end highness wow factor evolution. I am Majesty AliNICOLE Wow. Thank you for joining me for this segment. So, I felt guided to come forth to talk about topic that's really important. I like to think that all of what I share is very important, but this one um, primarily is important because it is about the call to high-end well-being in the new now. And the reason why this is very important is because, we can spend a lot of time focused on our mission, our life's purpose, so to speak, what we're here to do, and leveling up for this new now high-end type of experience. But if well-being is not really the central focus, then a lot of the other aspects that are definitely important, but without the well-beingness there, that is the chief cornerstone. It really is hard to build a solid foundation, um, and a structure for life and business if in fact well-being is not really at the helm, of that. So just something that I want to touch on today. So when we think about well-beingness, we need to look at that obviously in a holistic framework. And so some of you may be thinking, well, how does this tie in to high end? Well, high end has to be holistic anyway, at least in the new now testament premise of it. It definitely is one of the core fundamentals, where in the traditional high end types of structures, it is more just focused on what you charge, having a 6 or 7 figures and beyond type of business. And then lifestyle and well-being kind of gets incorporated in there. But from this perspective, we build from that place. It has to be about wholeness, and wholeness is going to encompass your total well-being. So, in terms of being called to well-being, we have to really look at what we're doing as a calling as it relates to well-beingness. We think in terms of a calling. I'm called to this particular occupation or this particular mission, this particular ministry, so to speak. But we really need to look at well-being as I am called to my wholeness. I'm called to my optimum well-beingness. And in order to actually achieve that, it's going to involve the new now higher end structures so that you can be whole. And this is important because the more that you can, I don't want to say accumulate, but I guess that could be the term to use in terms of what you accumulate towards your total well-being is going to play out for the win-win for you and others involved, in your world. And so having these structures that are about your total well-being, it gets no more high-end than that. Because your health is your wealth, your well-beingness is your true wealth. So you want to focus on structures, life structures and business structures that are going to support, yes, this overall holistic picture, you know, and that's important. What is the point of having money and success, but not having your your total well-being playing out, at the highest level? When you think about that, so many people spend a lot of time working to get money and to build popularity and different things. And then there's so many other aspects, so many other areas of their lives that are just unbelievably just insane. Trust me, I see it all. Experience pretty much all of it, what I know to be true when I see people who show up in social media a certain way, um, and they're operating, in the high-end space in the traditional way, but their lives are so out of order, so to speak. And you don't want that to be you. So it's best to allow yourself to answer the calling to your total well-being. That is signature for answering your new now high-end calling, because you're called to multiple things. It's not just an occupation or your life's mission. Sometimes you are called to tune into your soul. You are called to be present. You are called to be in a state of stillness, called to silence. You're called to many things, but all of these callings lead to this holistic type of encounter with yourself, a holistic experience. When you can show up whole, then that's going to invite other people to tune into their own wholeness. They sync up with you because they feel that from you. And again, it gives them permission. It's an invitation. And then the more whole you are, the more you're going to actually attract whole people to be a part of your experience. So that's why it's important to focus on this calling to high-end well-beingness. Yeah, because even well-beingness, in a sense, in a general perspective, is great, but that also may just put you in the bracket of just kind of having enough, good health, and bills, being paid, again, just enough or so, but nothing really over the top, just a comfortable, satisfying type of experience. But you're here for so much more. And what you can do with the higher levels of resourcefulness and resources when you are operating from your truth. And trust me, in order for you to operate from your full capacity of the truth of who you are at this phase, it is going to involve you really going all in on your new now high-end calling experience. And again, just liking this to well-being being that chief cornerstone. So what I want you to think about is what wholeness means to you. What does well-being mean to you? And kind of have a wow factor experience created around that. And wow can stand for, working on well-beingness. I have so many different acronyms as it relates to the wow. Your worthwhile, outstanding works, or your wealthy, opulent works. And, today talking about well-beingness. So let's focus on that. What does well-beingness look like? And what type of life structures and business structures can you set up that will support your total well-being? So you have to think about these things. And a lot of times, even before your trajectories fill in with the higher profitability, it's best to sort of already know, at least from a general standpoint, what that type of visioning could be. Normally, it's always going to be like 10 times better than what you come up with, but having something tentative to work with is always best. So if I had to give you an assignment, it definitely would be exploring, taking inventory, taking some time out to be present and think about what would support my total well-being from this high-end perspective. Who am I in this high-end well-beingness type of experience? How am I feeling? What am I doing? Who am I supporting as I support myself? What does this do for my expansion, my evolution? What ultimately makes this like, wow, I live this life and I have this type of high-end experience in this new now phase? Because we know the power is in the present, the power is in the now. You hear me talk a lot about this, the now testament of who you are. And one of the reasons why it's important to move through, I don't want to say processes, but just awarenesses very quickly is because we shift and change and rapidly accelerate into newer dimensions of who we are in this high-end experience. So with that being said, yeah, definitely take time out to say, what is this calling? Well-beingness is calling me. But what is it calling me to? Meaning that's a general, type of phrasing, and it does encompass everything for sure. But then the specifics will fill in because you'll be called to something specific as it relates to the well-being. Maybe you're called to focus on a certain area of your health. Could be called to focusing on a lifestyle advantage, decluttering your life in a certain way, simplifying your business or expanding the business more. Maybe some of you are very local, regional, what you do, and it's time to take what you do global, and not just global in terms of the internet, but preparing to be global in presence and positioning as far as what you do from a live perspective. And though you may not be able to do that now based on just, conditions of the world, but preparing for when that time actually shifts and then maximizing the opportunity to expand what you do online globally, you know? So it's a lot to think about. And as you know, this whole experience is really about your unique individuality. So that's why empowering questions and prompts and being present are so important. It's just an important exercise to do, and taking that time out instead of having, here's 10 ways to do this that will lead you to high-end success, because it's not going to work for everyone. You really do have to navigate this new now way for yourself, and just being aware that there is a such thing as this new now high-end experience. And now what will that what does that experience, what does it entail for you? And what gives it the wow factor? What is the evolution of your desires? What you desired for well-being at one point. I'm sure for most of you that's evolved, it's expanded. I know for me, it certainly has. What I thought I desired, even for my well-beingness, even just a month ago, has changed. But certainly it shifted and evolved over the years. I had to realize that it was not an essential in a sense, and not a luxury in a sense. Well, it was an essential, excuse me. It wasn't an extra. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, well-beingness was not just something, oh, it's a part of this. No, it is really the whole of this. How you set up your entire expression and your life's works, your business frameworks, lifestyle frameworks. It has to be from that holistic premise. So again, allow yourself to answer the calling to well-beingness, because from there, you're going to discover what's unique for you, your unique template in terms of How do you need to actually be doing business moving forward? How do you actually need to be participating in your life, in your lifestyle, your relationships? What does that look like? So let's take a moment just to be present with just this intention of being called to this new now high-end well-beingness. So take a deep breath, please. So just be present with that high-end well-beingness. What does that mean for me? What does that look and feel like? My self-definition. What type of freedom does that allow me to express? There are different levels of freedom, so that's why I phrased it like that. A lot of times people think of freedom just kind of cohesively, uh, just that term. I'm just free. We're not always free in every area, though. So that's why they are specific, like financial freedom, peace of mind, freedom, liberation in terms of the mindset. But what does this mean for you as it relates to well being and wholeness? Are you free and to be whole? Do you feel free as it relates to your well beingness? Or does that feel controlled and constricted for you? So, this is the time to really be defining and redefining and then refining. But again, encompassing this as a calling. And I feel very strong about this. That's why I came forth to share, because I know even for my own life during this time, it is a call to higher end well beingness. Remember, there's always a new level, always a new level. We have to be willing to allow ourselves to expand into this next continuum of who we are. One thing you never want to do is plateau in terms of your growth. You never want to plateau in your profitability, and that is from a holistic vantage point as well. Yeah. So I just wanted to share this. As I mentioned, I'm doing this for myself as well, and I know that it would benefit you all to really be thinking about this. Really be thinking about answering this calling. Because again, I guarantee you, when you answer the call to your high-end well-beingness in this new now, you're going to get the answers, the wisdom and the insight of here's what you need to do to best support your overall experience and keep well-beingness as this primary focus. Let this totally be the umpire of your experience. And as I mentioned, the chief cornerstone, that you don't reject that. Don't let that be you as the builder reject that cornerstone. Make sure that well-being is from this high-end perspective is that most important thing, because that does encompass everything: your spirituality, your source connection. It's about being whole, and how this high-end experience, I don't want to say leads to wholeness, It is wholeness. It brings forth your wholeness. It allows you to unleash the whole of who you are, the wholeness that comes through. And that is evolution at its finest. And that definitely is a wow factor because most people don't even go after that as a goal, let alone obtain it as a way of beingness. But you get the opportunity to demonstrate that. And that's very powerful. Okay, all right. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Again, food for thought for you to get present with and make well-beingness your top priority during this phase. And I'm wishing you the best and sending you away with many blessings. And I look forward to being back with you soon. Take care.